Gracia. Okay, it is not just a pleasure, but an absolute zchus to introduce Rebbetzin Silber. Rebbetzin Rochel Silber has been teaching and counseling worldwide for more than 40 years. Born and educated in New York City. She holds a bachelor's degree in mathematics from Queens College, City University of New York, and a BA in teaching from Esther Schoenfeld Teacher Seminary, as well as many certifications in holistic healing. She is a senior lecturer in the Neve Yerushalayim for 20 years and teaches in various seminaries and women's learning centers in Israel. Rebbetzin Silber strives to help her students find their unique gifts in Torah learning and serving Hashem, drawing from the well springs of Hasidus, in addition to all classical Torah sources. Welcome, Rebbetzin Silber, and it's a zchus to have you here.
Hi, everybody. You can hear me? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, you're in this. Sorry, you're in this. It's good to see some familiar faces. Welcome to Yerushalayim Kodesh. Welcome to our first beautiful spring day. So it's, it's appropriate to start learning about Pesach. Good. So I think that we're going to talk today about the Kavanos that a person has during the Pesach Seder when we're eating the Matzah and the Marror. This will take about 4 hours. We'll squish it into as much as we can. And we're going to be using the Sefer Pri Tzadik of Tzadik HaKohen from Lublin. Those people who have that Sefer, who likes to look inside, it's in the Chelik of Brit. I have the old copy of it, so I don't know in the new version, in the new copy, but in the old copy, it's in the very, very end of Sefer Bereshis, and he wrote a little Sefer called Kunchus Eis HaAchila, Kunchus Eis HaOchel, which means how to eat. And basically, Rav Tzadok says that what we do at the Pesach Seder in terms of the mitzvah of eating is actually can fix all areas of eating in our life. Now, if you need to have kavanah for somebody else that you know of, you can. Hashem is incredibly expansive, and so you can fix all of your problems with eating at the Pesach Seder, and fix anyone else's problems with eating or issues or challenges. I know I have to be PC. In Israel, we're not always PC. By the Pesach Seder. So let's just go through. We know that everyone here, all the women here are either preparing to host or preparing to be guests. But the focus, the showcase of Pesach is the Seder. And the showcase of the Seder is the Matzah, the Marror, the Arba Kosos, and the Sipur Tzias Mitzrayim, the teaching of the story of the Exodus from Mitzrayim, from Egypt, that we re-experience every single year. So I'm sure you're learning all about Pesach in so many different venues. Whenever we have a mitzvah whenever we have any mitzvah, but particularly the mitzvah of Pesach, we have, if you look in your Haggadahs, a lot of times you'll see before any of the parts of before anything, there's a little paragraph that by the Chassidim they say this before every mitzvah, but especially highlighted in the Haggadah for everyone, and that is either Hineni Muchan Muzuman or Hareini Muchan Muzuman, which means I am getting ready. I want to prepare my mindset so that I do this mitzvah correctly. That's basically what we say. Hineni Muchan Muzuman L'kai mitzvahs say. I'm preparing to do the mitzvah that Hashem commanded me of, whatever it is that we're about to do. And then we add in a few Kabbalistic words, and we begin to. But it's a preparation. It's like it's a pause. It's a stop. It's a pause, and it's a get your mindset focused. So we do that before every mitzvah that we do. So there is something called kavanah, an intention that a person could have before they do any mitzvah. The first primary intention that anyone has to have for any mitzvah is basics. Hashem, you commanded me in the Torah through Moshe Rabbeinu and through all the Tzadikei Emes, through all the Chazal, through the Tanaim and the Amorim and the Nevi'im, everybody. You commanded me, you commanded us to do these mitzvahs. So I am doing, my intention is to fulfill your command. And even though I do not know even an efes, a tiny percentage of why and what I'm accomplishing, but please let it be that whatever needs to be accomplished through me doing this mitzvah, let it be accomplished, whether I know about it or not. So in other words, my first intention is to fulfill the mitzvah of Hashem. And the bottom line is that that's the highest intention that a person could have. Just to do the Ratzon Hashem. It binds us to Torah Shebichtav. It binds us to Torah Sheba'al Peh. It binds us to Chazal. I'll tell you something something very cute. You know that everyone in the world is going to look on the calendar to see when Pesach is. And maybe there might be some Jews who maybe are not so educated or maybe not so affiliated. Maybe they're bewildered, like, why do we before like 2 Adars if they have a Jewish calendar? Now everybody has an online calendar, so I don't know if people look at the old-fashioned Jewish calendar that's on paper. But interesting that even unaffiliated Jews are going to keep Pesach exactly as our rabbis determined in the fact that they made this year a leap year. So all of these unaffiliated or uneducated or even chas v'shalom annoyed with halacha Jews are actually keeping rabbinical Judaism. No one made Pesach last week, right? Everyone's making Pesach according to the leap year, the calendar, and the calendar is rabbinic. So that means that it's impossible to say that they're not holding by Torah Sheba'al Peh, because the only reason we have a calendar bichlal is that we have Torah Sheba'al Peh. So that's a good limud zchus on the Jewish people. That's a good way of saying something beneficial to the merit of the Jewish people, that everyone's going to make Pesach at the same time. They don't even realize that Hashem created, Hashem made them, made everybody, made all Jews, because all Jews know about Passover, right? Hashem made all Jews observing of rabbinical, of halacha and of Chazal, Torah Sheba'al Peh. That's a very good thing for everybody. Okay, so the first kavanah for the Kiddush and for the Matzah and for the Marror and for the Haggadah, because these are the basic mitzvahs on Purim, is Hashem, I'm just doing your will. I'm just doing your Ratzon. So now if you are, you might want to do this before the entire Seder begins. Just say the basic, a broad Hareini Mechavein, Hareini Mekabel Alai, whatever it is you say in the very beginning, or you can say in English, Hashem, everything I do tonight, let it be because you commanded me in the Torah. Now, let's talk about the matzah first. The Zohar Kadosh gives the matzah many different adjectives, many different names. One, of course, is lechem oni. We know that, and we know why it's called lechem oni. The Gemara in Pesachim says, "She'onim alav dvarim harbe," that we talk a lot when we have the matzah on the table and we're talking and telling the story of Yetzias Mitzrayim. We're telling it to ourselves. And you might say, why do we say it to ourselves again and again? And that's because every single year we need to be reinforced because we keep sticking ourselves back into Mitzrayim. Hashem takes us out of Mitzrayim. 10 minutes later, we put ourselves back into Mitzrayim. Hashem pulls us out of Mitzrayim. We go back. Because Mitzrayim just means a mental exile. It means when you don't have enough, that's Mitzrayim. When you get confused, when you have doubts, that's all Mitzrayim. It's not a geographic place at all. It's a mindset. So when your mind is in not such a great place, you're in Mitzrayim. Then Hashem sends you. Hashem either sends you an inspiration, or you pull yourself out, or your friend calls you, or you have a beautiful shir like all these women, holy women coming together and davening. And I'm sure that Hashem created I told you this, that Hashem made the internet for people like not people now. Hashem made the internet for you. because how else are we going to come together, Eretz Israel and Chutz La'aretz, I don't know where all of you are, to daven. So sometimes you pull yourself out, sometimes a friend pulls you out, sometimes you have a shir that's kavua, you have a shir that you go to every week and you're in a crummy mood, but you go to the shir anyway, and then it pulls you out of Mitzvah. And then we jump back into Mitzvah, and we do that all day long, 100 times a day. That's why we had to say the story of Mitzrayim every single year of Pesach. Pesach gives us a strong pull out. We pull out stronger on Mitzrayim. We like gouge it out of us for a little bit longer. So by the matzah, so it's called lechem oni, because oni means poor. Okay, so you know the reason, you know that it says because the Jewish people didn't have enough time to bake the matzah, and it's skinny, it's not fluffy, right? So it's humility, that all that stuff, you know. But the Zohar Kodesh says two more things about matzah. It says that matzah is the food of emunah, and matzah is the food of healing. It's the food that heals you, and it's the food that increases your emunah. So this is the only thing that we can do all year long that has the same flavor, so to speak, as the Beis HaMikdash food. Because you know, Be'ezus Hashem, soon we're going to all experience this. When we went into the Beis HaMikdash, the activated, actualized, alive Beis HaMikdash, when we went into the Beis HaMikdash, and we smelled the Ketores, immediately all of our doubts went away, and we just felt inspired. When we smelled the burning of the Kavanot and the Mizbeach, all of our questions evaporated from our being. When we ate from some of the korban food, which we are privileged to be able to, whether you are a Kohen or a Bas Kohen or not, it doesn't matter. You can eat some of the food. You can eat from the Beis HaMikdash. You can eat from the korban Toda that you sing so beautifully, Mizmor L'Soda, Perek 100, right, and Tilim. So we're gonna all bring korban Toda. And the Gemara says that we just read actually yesterday in the Parsha, that by korban Toda you have to bring 40 loaves of challah, 40. 30 of them are chametz. 30 of them are matzah. That means they're not flat, but they're matzah. They have the halacha matzah. And 10 have to be chametz. The only thing I think that we bring in the whole Beis HaMikdash is chametz. And why do you have to bring 40 loaves? Because Chazal tell us when you want to bring a korban toda to say thank you to Hashem, you don't do it by yourself. You have to bring a lot of people. And you have to eat all of that bread up, and you have to eat it within one day and a night. From the day that you give it until the night, you have to eat it all up. So you have to make a big party to say thank you to Hashem. And so when we ate that korban toda, we didn't just say thank you on the past, but we mamish filled up with so much gratitude for every breath that we take and every step that we take and every vision that we see and every fragrance that we smell and every sound that we hear. Korban Toda means we're so grateful to Hashem. Do you know that every single day in davening by Shmoneh Esrei we say Modim, right? Modim Anachnu Lach. So Melech Biderman says this. He says really all day long we're supposed to be saying thank you, every breath. Im kol neshima neshma, last pasuk until Im kol neshima neshma, you're supposed to, with every breath, say thank you, I can breathe. Thank you, I can breathe. If people chas v'shalom can't breathe, they know how terribly scary that is. And so with every breath you say thank you. With every step, we're supposed to say thank you all day long, but we don't have time, we can't, because we have to live. So Chazal instituted in the Shmoneh Esrei, Modim Anachnu Lach, and when we bow Modim, we say, thank you, Hashem, for all day long. I'm supposed to be saying thank you for every single thing. The children call you, the grandchildren call you, the sun comes out, the broom, the washing machine still works, you found the broom. All of these things we have to make major thank yous for. We say Modim twice a day or 3 times a day if you say Marror. Okay, so the food, the matzah, strengthens our emunah, strengthens our health. Let's talk about strengthening our emunah first. Well, let's talk about the humility first. When you eat the matzah, well, let me step back. Sorry, I'll do it like this. You know that we have a shear, we have a certain amount of matzah that we have to eat. We eat matzah 3 times at the Seder, and I know that in Chutz La'aretz you have 2 Seders, And I'm not sure how this works. I guess it works twice. Here and there. So we have one Seder. We accomplish everything one night. So you eat the matzah 3 times. The first time you eat the matzah hamotzi. The second time you eat the matzah, the sandwich, the karech, right? The third time is the afikomen. Each of these matzahs, you don't just take a bite. You have a shear. You have an amount. Everyone according to the family, everyone according to their rav, according to their custom, how much to eat. From the second that you take the bite into the matzah, your intention before you bite, before you eat, your intention is, Hashem, I'm doing this mitzvah because you say so in the Torah, and Chazal explained us how to do it. Chazal explains us how to make matzah, all the different times. I'm doing everything according to your will. That's the first, before you take the bite. Then, as you eat, you can have, I'm just making suggestions. You can have the following kavanas. First of all, the kavana is help me to be humble. Because matzah is humble. So help me to be humble. Help me to be able to speak, to express myself, Hashem, in a holy way. Because again, matzah is called lechem sha'onim alav dvarim harbe. We talk a lot about it. We don't want to talk shtusim. You're all tzaddikas ladies. No, I'm sure not one of you lets one word of silliness come out of your mouth of bad stuff. But we want to make constructive, as much as we can, constructive conversation. So let me, Hashem, speak in a holy, constructive, amazing and Kiddush Hashem way, and a happy way. Not that I should limit my speech, but I should be whatever words I say should unify people and unify me to you and unify you to us. And my words should be powerful and holy and happy and unifying and loving and constructive. That's another thought. A third thought, Hashem, strengthen my emunah. Now, you're thinking these thoughts while you're chewing. Because no one's talking at the Seder now. When you're from the time that you wash and you have your first bite, you don't speak unless it's about, the matzah itself, unless it's about the mitzvah. But we don't speak. We don't say divrei Torah, nothing, until we finish the korech, until we finish the sandwich. So in your mind, you're thinking, Hashem, help me strengthen my emunah. Now, I suggest that you write this down in your Haggadah, or you write it on a piece of paper and you stick the piece of paper in your Haggadah. I have papers and Haggadahs and markings in my Haggadah and all the different Haggadahs. So you write it down because you might forget, because after all, you're hosting or you're being a guest, so there's a lot of distractions. You want to close your eyes and chew and ask Hashem in your mind, please, Tati, I need more emunah. I need more bitachon. I need to stop worrying. I need to rely on you. I need to feel your love and your presence while you're chewing. Now, of course, at some point you're going to swallow a little bit, but that's okay because you have a big amount of matzah to eat and you have a lot of time to do it, or 4 minutes or 9 minutes, depending on, right? So you want to think about your emunah. Now, you also want to think about other people in your life, because you can direct your tefillas to other people in your life. So please let my kids strengthen their emunah, my grandchildren, my husband, my wife, my parents, my siblings, my students, my friends, my coworkers, everybody, whoever I'm connected to on the level of soul, that my tefillah could help them. Please strengthen their emunah. Could you imagine what power we have? It's such an amazing power we have this Seder night. Now you want to also be healed. You want refuah. You want healing. The Zohar Kodesh says that, I think it says in the Gemara this also, but the Zohar for sure says that matzah has a certain healing quality to it. Now, how does that work? I'm sure that, you're not going to, find vitamin C and vitamin D. You're not going to analyze it like that. It doesn't work like that. But what matzah does is it elevates us so that we really do tshuva. And when we do tshuva, any negativity that came into our life because of a lack of what we're supposed to be dissolves. So you want to daven Hashem should heal you mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually. You want to stay strong and healthy. You want to be firm. You want to be sturdy. So there's kavanas that you could say with the matzah, and in your mind, you're just thinking this in your mind. And as you swallow, so now that's why if you come to, at the Seder, when people know this and they know the power of the eating of the matzah, so they don't skimp on the matzah, they keep taking another piece, just to be able to make sure I have the shear. I want to have a lot, because there's a lot to daven. And you can review it again. You can say, Hashem, I want to do this to come closer to you. And I want to do this because it's a mitzvah. Maybe there are certain mitzvahs that my ego gets in the way, Hashem, and I don't do it because I think I know better. So, but I don't want to do that, Hashem. I want to do everything that you say, everything that you command. I want to love every single Jew. Every mitzvah that you command, I want to be able to do that. You can have these kavanas when you eat your matzah. And again, this is all preparation for the Beis HaMikdash, because you're going to have these kavanas when you eat the food in the Beis HaMikdash. Okay. That's a little bit of matzah. And again, another thing I said in the beginning, you want to daven if anybody has an unhealthy relationship with food, then you're davening that the matzah, when you're eating the matzah, because you're eating that for a mitzvah. You can do this, by the way, by shalosh shudas, by Malav Malka, when you're full in the wintertime, when it's like shalosh, you just finish benching and it's all the time for shalosh shudas, and you wash again and you eat a little bit, and you can do that also. You can fix anyone who has eating disorders or challenges or whatever. Daven for them while you're doing a mitzvah of eating, so you have power to daven about food. So anything about food, whatever, everybody has their own, that you should have enough food. Thank you, Hashem, that we have enough food. I just did my first Pesach shopping today. Wow, it's expensive. So thank you, Hashem, that we have wheat, we have matzah, we can go down the block and buy it. Thank you, Hashem. We have food. Down for the people who don't have food, they should have the means to purchase their food. Anything about food, you can make up your own. And you daven this, and you have 3 times to daven this. So don't worry, because if you didn't finish, if let's say your husband says, okay, next, that comes tomorrow, it's okay. You have time now for the sandwich. You have plenty of time to daven. Plenty of time to daven. Okay. The next thing we want to talk about is the marror. The marror in the Seder plate is smack in the middle, and it represents Tiferes, actually. It represents perfect balance and healing. And Rebbetzin explains to us that even though it's bitter, but the Gemara says, what's marror? Now we use romaine lettuce, which is the correct thing to use, chasa, which means, by the way, it means lettuce. It also means mercifulness, mercy. Hashem is chus rachem aleinu. So the Rebbetzin says that the marror represents like this. You're supposed to think about all the bitter things you ever went through. And when you're eating the marror, and stick in a little bit of the chrein, the strong horseradish, just to make you cry a little bit or tear a little bit. Think about every difficult, bitter thing you ever went through in life, and then say to Hashem, give it back and say, it was gamzu l'tova. Thank you, Hashem. I don't understand, but I know that you love me, and I'm saying thank you. I'm acknowledging that I had bitter, but I'm saying thank you. And I'm saying, don't give me any more, but on the past. So Reb Tzadok says also that the Marror, the Gemara says this. What's Marror? Why is it called? For a minute, when you want me to stop talking, like start waving and I'll just stop, okay? Because I don't know how much longer I have here. So with Marror, the Gemara says like this. Why is it that people use horseradish? It's very simple. Sephardim don't use horseradish. You know why? Because why the horseradish, like that white root that stings, that burns, right? Because in Europe there was no lettuce. In Russia, Poland, Hungary, there was no lettuce. So they had to use something that was as bitter as they could get. So the root vegetables grew in Europe. So they used horseradish. And so when we were all growing up, our grandparents were European, and so they used horseradish. I remember the first time I told my grandfather he should rest in peace and have a good Gan Eden and be a good Beitzah for the whole family. And the first time when I was like in high school, and I said, Zaidi, we have to use lettuce. And he looked at me like I was crazy. Lettuce? No, you have to use the white. And he used to give us a chunk. And he used to make us, because he says, bite into it. You have to bite it and chew it. Of course, we couldn't do that. He could, because he had European koyach. I couldn't do that. And when I said to him lettuce, he said, what is lettuce? Lettuce is not marror. Anyway, but the Gemara says, why do we use bitter? Why do we use marror? Because the truth is that nowadays our lettuce is so genetically messed up and modified that we don't even taste it bitter. But the real lettuce should be the bitter greens that you can sometimes get in a good health food store. A bitter green, and it's so good for your digestion. In other words, it tastes bitter, but it's so healthy for you. That's really what marror is. It's not just the lettuce that we have now, but it's and that's what the Gemara says. It goes in bitter, and when it goes into your digestive system is smiling and laughing and happy because of all the green and all the nutrients and all the digestive and the equal, the way that it makes you digest your food better. So that's what marror is. Marror represents the idea of everything that we ever had in life that was difficult, somehow was good for us. So that's what you think about when you have a marror. Now, we always have a little charoses, so we put the marror, a little chreinin, a little of that white sharp stuff, and we dip in the charoses. And we know because we want to, Hashem is saying to us, really, really, till Mashiach comes, we won't understand it, but we have emunah that whatever we went through, we needed to go through. And somehow it fixed us. Or it fixed all the different souls that somehow are connected to our neshama. What happens when we make the sandwich? So first of all, the sandwich is Hillel. Zecher lemikdash ki Hillel. So Hillel, we love Hillel, right? Of the Hillel and Shammai family, yeah? Hillel and Shammai. Hillel Shammai was from the side of Gevurah, and Hillel was from the side of Chesed. That means Hillel came from the side of loving kindness in the way he interpreted halacha and the way he paskin, the way he ruled, and Shammai came from the side of gevura, of din, of strictness. Until Mashiach comes, we can't do Shammai. Only we can do Hillel. So Zecher HaMikdash, we're remembering the Beit HaMikdash, ki Hillel, according to the opinion of Hillel. Because Hillel said that instead of doing first Matzah, then Marror, then the Korban Pesach, we could put it all together and make one connection. So now we don't do Nebuch. Maybe we'll still get the Korban Pesach. That would be something if we could still get a Korban Pesach before this Pesach. We could. Hashem could do anything. Terrifying. In the olden days, when I had the Beis HaMikdash, so they made a sandwich of a little sliver of roast lamb. Must have been really good. And a little sliver of lettuce on top, and matzah top and bottom. We ate that. That was an amazing sandwich. So what does that mean? What's the kavanah there? So first of all, again, in the kavanahs you got the matzah in there. So if you didn't finish any of the kavanot any of the thoughts and the prayers for the matzah, you do that then, or you could leave that for the afikomen. And again, you could repeat again and again the thoughts that you have. But for the sandwich, what you could think of, and again, you can think think of all the different combinations of things in your life, the unlikely combinations of sweet and sour, bitter and sweet, and recognize that all of it together makes you who you are. You're very, very welcome to everybody who's saying thank you. I know you have to leave. I see I'm just, again, wave to me when I have to finish. It's funny because my appointment, I had a class right after this, which means I was supposed to leave 5 minutes ago, and that was shifted. So everything got later and have more time for you. Okay, so again, the combinations and the things in your life, the combinations, your marriage, your children, all the things that are combined in your life, or the lack of, and again, emunah, it's from Hashem. Emunah, it's from Hashem. It's from Hashem. It's somehow helping. If it's not helping me, it's helping someone else in my soul group. You know that all of us are big souls, and we have other people's souls who are somehow clinging to us and depending on us. And we might not know who these people are. Some people we know and some people we don't know. But it could be that a person has to go through things that are difficult so that they could get through it, because we're all Balei Emunah, we try hard to stay strong. And then when we pick ourselves up, we're also somehow elevating and helping all the different other people in our soul group. We don't know why we're going through what we're going through, but we're davening that all the combinations in our lives should be healthy and should be holy and should be wonderful. And anything else in our life that we're not sure about, give it back to Hashem. Say Hashem, like that Becoming Divine, I don't know your name, was reading in that beautiful sefer that you have to give everything to Hashem. The best way to get something done is to say, Tata, I cannot do this. I can't do it. You have to help me. You have to do it for me. I'll do my hishtadlus, but I can't do this at all. You have to do it for me. And I would like you to do it as soon as possible, and even sooner than that. Okay. You know that we're Shabbos is Nisan, Baruch Hashem. This whole week is last week of Adar, coming up to Nisan, Shabbos Nisan. So Nisan is Nisan, miracles, the Ezra Hashem. You're not allowed to fast in Nisan. Both of my parents passed away in Nisan. Nishmat, my mother and my father, my mother on the 10th of Nisan, my father on the 17th of Nisan. And so we don't even go to the cemetery on the Yarside. I was never by the cemetery on the Yarside. Actually, the first time I did go, and I went, I called a taxi to take me to Har Menuchos. Both of my parents are buried there. And I got into the taxi, said Har Menuchos, and he said, Oive, you have a levaya? It was the 10th of Nisan, my mother's Yarside. And I said, no, I have Yarside. My mother, it was the first Yarside. Here's an Israeli story. He was a taxi driver wasn't wearing a yarmulke. He turns around to me in the taxi and says, lady, you look like a rabbanit. Don't you know you're not supposed to go to the cemetery in Nisan? I didn't know that. A taxi driver without a yarmulke taught me that. I said, okay, just take me there anyway. I didn't know, and I didn't go before, and it's her Yarside, and go, take me. He says, she's not going to be there. The neshamas are not there. So we don't make hespedim. We don't by both of their Yarside still no hespedim, but both of the levayas no hespedim, which is very characteristic of them. They were very, very humble people. But anyway, in Nisan we don't fast. But there's a fast that you could do every single day to make a tikkun of eating. A fast you could do every single day. It's called the tightness of the Ravid, the tightness of the Ravid. He says like this. He says, whenever you're eating something, it could be also on Shabbos, and you have one more bite that you would like to eat and you hold back, that's called fasting. Could you imagine? If you don't finish your plate, I know all of us were raised, yes, you have to finish everything on your plate. We were raised by survivors and whatever. But the bottom line is that if you leave over some little thing, it's not called Baal Tashchas. Put it back in the pot or whatever. But that's called a fast. If you have a little bit more that you could eat and you don't, that's called a fast. That is a fixing of all the eating that you need to do. Not just that, but matzah puts, not just it fixes food, but it puts, okay, now I'm going to finish. It puts kedusha into all the food for the entire year. So ask Hashem, because we say, Asher Kishem V'Savasivanu, right? We say, Hashem, you commanded us to eat the matzah. We don't say on Shabbos, you commanded us to eat challah. But we say on matzah, Asher Kiddushan V'Savasivanu al achilas matzah. So because we say al achilas marror, and so the Pri Tzaddik says that when you eat the matzah, you're elevating for the entire year. You're making holy for the entire, all grains, all mazonos, all hamosi. And when you eat the maror, you're elevating all fruits and vegetables. And in olden days, when we ate the Korban Pesach, and in future days, we're elevating all animal products and their byproducts. So by eating on Pesach, you're making holy. You're eating for this whole up and coming year, and it puts it into your body. So Be'ez Hashem, that's just a drop, a little bit, a drop in the bucket. Pesach and food for Pesach and eating for Pesach, and you should have a successful Seder, Chag Kosher, V'Sameach, V'Kosher. I was talking over with one of my friends who's a big tzaddikus the other day, and she said, and I'm sure that you can relate to this, every year I do less and less unnecessary things and more preparing and learning, so that I come to the Seder a different person altogether. So Be'ez Hashem, every year, do less and less of the unnecessary and more of the in what will enhance your happiness at the Seder, etc., and your ruchnius at the Seder, and that will, you don't even have to say a word. If you're embarrassed at the Seder to talk and to say Divrei Torah, just sit there with a beautiful smile on your face. Sit there looking holy, looking happy, looking, intense when you're eating. Just, that's what you can convey. That's the teaching. You don't have to say it. Of course, if you could say Gesundheit, say. But if for some reason you can't, okay, ma, Bobby, enough, right? Okay, let them just see the Haaretz Panim on your face. Let your face project happiness that I'm a Jew, holiness that I'm a Jew, love. If your face and your body projects it, not just your face, your body. It's why it's good to have a little bit of wine in the beginning. You make kiddush, relax a little bit, and then all of your boundaries and your blockages and your walls soften a little bit, and just beam to every single person that you're saying at the table, love, and beam to them emunah, and beam to them forgiveness, whatever you want, whatever every family needs. Give it to them by your face, by your eyes, by your heart. I'm not just making this up. This is Rav Abulafia, a big Kabbalah, says this. He says you can pour out of your heart, of your being, whatever you have. So put on a lot of music when you do Pesach stuff, cleaning, make it happy. If it's too hard for you, hire somebody to clean for Pesach, and that's also kosher. And if you go away, some people go away for Pesach, some people go to hotels for Pesach, whatever it is, you just do the best that you can. Beam everyone, emunah b'tzachon. Thank you so much for inviting me to come again. Thank you, Nomi, and thank you, Frimit, and thank you, Becoming Divine. And Javier, you on someplace? I know you used to be on here. And all of the chevra that I know, thank you for coming and letting me get out of my, I'm mamish 2 minutes ago, I was at the broom in the porch. And I looked at the clock and said, oh, so thank you for rescuing me to sit down and learn a little bit. Thank you, Yehuda. I'll see you, I'll see you this week. Yeah. I don't know. I should really look at the names of all the people and say hi to everybody, but
thank you.
Okay, bye, everybody.
Thank you so much, Rebbetzin Silber. That was amazing. And thank you for uplifting our coming Pesach Be'ez Hashem. We hope you have a wonderful, uplifting, and inspiring Pesach, and maybe be zeicha to join you in Yerushalayim, the Biaskel Tzedek.
Amen.
Thank you.
And Rochel has a course on Shiviti. If anybody, she's doing a course on the Pesach Seder. So if anybody wants to join that, they can just go on to Shiviti's. It's almost over, right, Rochel? But
this
they probably.
But we're starting again. We're starting Megillas Rus Be'ez Hashem after Pesach, and there's 2 courses there, Megillas Rus, and we have a course on the Siros and how they impact your personality. So yeah, come to the Shiviti seminary, join us. We would love to have you. Yehuda Sar is there, Nomi's there. Who else is there from Shiviti? I have to look now, please quickly see. Oh, nobody. These faces. Okay, everybody. Have a great day. Have a good morning, a good evening, wherever you are.
Thanks, Rochel. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Again.
You too. Thank you. Have a great day and a good thought.